Hit it. So this is week 1 of the 4-week intermittent fasting challenge. So I'm doing it from the testing lab. So I've got the board back here, but because it's on reverse camera, you probably only see the writing backwards. So, but the board's mainly for me to stop me, you know, talking too much and coming off point. Just to keep me on point and giving you the information that you need for your first week. So as far as the first week, I'll mention this a few times, but we're just going to try to keep it nice and simple, nice and easy. Everyone wants to run straight into this and hit it hard, but let's go into it nice and gradual, and we'll build up the pace as the weeks go on, and I'll keep giving you more information as the weeks go on, so it's trickle feeding rather than trying to overload you. Like I say, intermittent fasting is very simple, very basic, but there are some key points to be aware of, and we'll go through those now. So week 1, if you're new to it, what we're going to do is introduce you to the method slowly. So you're going to do a 12 and 12, and I mentioned this in the intro video. So 12 hours fasting, 12 hours eating. If you look at the time frame, a basic time frame for that would be to stop eating at about 7 p.m. Right, you know when your last dinner is, so that's when you stop eating completely. Yeah, and then have breakfast at 7 a.m. Ideally, we want to stop a couple of hours before we go to bed. Okay, so say you go to bed at 9 or 10, 7 o'clock is probably a reasonable time to stop eating. So you go to bed, when you wake up in the morning, then you can either have another hour before you actually eat anything, or you can have breakfast straight away, as long as it's in that 12 hours. Okay. Obviously, if you've done it before, then you'll know that, you know, the ideal sort of time frame we're looking for is 16 and 8. So you fast for 16 hours and only have an 8-hour eat window. So a couple of times I've done in the past. So I normally, on a normal day-to-day base, I'll stop eating at 4 p.m. Because my first class is at 4:30 and I work throughout the evening. That way I'm nice and busy and I haven't really got time to eat in between that. So if I stop at 4 p.m. and then I'm ready to have breakfast at 8, I normally get up about 4 or 5 in the morning. So it's only a few hours then. So I would normally do a bit of cardio and then I'm ready to have breakfast at 8 before I take the girls to school at 8:30. So that works quite well for me. But again, I've tried it in the past, stop eating at 7 at night. Yeah. And having breakfast at 11, but because I've got my first class, or I go to work at 10. Well, it's not the first one, but it's, you know, nearest to the time I should be eating is at 10. Then waiting till 11 sometimes is a bit much. So for me, stopping at 4, eating at 8 works really well. But again, for some people that go to bed late, that's quite hard to do. So what I'm trying to say in a nutshell is, pick a time that suits your working day or your day. Okay, so what's good for me might not work for you. It's got to fit within your lifestyle or your life pattern. Okay, to make it easier to keep and stick to, and that's what we want to do. We want to make sure that we can stick to it. What we're looking at is 5 to 6 days of a week to be doing those fasting hours. Okay, I tend to do mainly 5 to 6, but during this phase, for this first 4 weeks, because I've been eating a lot over Christmas and not fasting, I'm going to do 6 days with 1 day rest. I always recommend having 1 day rest. Okay, that's not a day to start chucking loads of calories and making all the hard work you've done during the week pretty pointless. It's a time to just let yourself relax, maybe have something that you do enjoy eating, and not overthink anything, to reset really and get yourself back for the next week. So I normally have Saturday off because it just works better for me, and then I start again Sunday, have a roast dinner, finish that roast dinner about 4 o'clock, knock on the head. Okay, but again, it's got to fit your lifestyle. Yeah, all right, and it's got to be sustainable, and that's what we're trying to look for. So a couple of rules you want to be looking at or adhering to. So there's only a few rules to adhere to on this. So no food or drink during your fast window. Yep. Except what is acceptable is water. Obviously, it's not a water fast. Black coffee, and for me, black coffee is really good. I find that if I'm feeling hungry, which sometimes you can do if you wake up in the morning and you feel hungry, if you have a black coffee, it just sort of like takes the edge off that, and then, you know, neutralizes that hunger. I find it does. And green tea, okay, those two things help with those times where you do feel hungry. It's having something just to clear the system out and stop you thinking about food. If you can keep yourself busy, the more you can keep yourself busy during your fast window, the better. So ideally, making sure that you get a good sleep in the middle of it, and then you're only fasting a couple of hours either side, then it's going to be easy to achieve. Yeah. Couple of things I put on the rules, but it's more sort of like personal preference, but it's really good for motivation. So weigh yourself in today. Yeah. Measure your hips and waist, and take photos. So take photos are really good. I find you're better off doing a video, going around in a circle, filming your front, back, or front, side, back, side again, and then taking screenshots for that. That's not for anyone else. That's for you. It's for your own motivation. So it's to keep you motivated during this challenge, but also when you look at the end and you do this, you repeat that process, weigh yourself, measure yourself, and then you know, take the photos. You'll see what a difference, just even in 4 weeks, what you've done. Okay, because not a lot of time, if you're looking at yourself constantly in the mirror every day, you don't really see the progress. But photos and measurements are really good for that. One on the weigh-in side of things, just take the weigh-in as a pinch of salt. We only do that mainly. We'll do that to set your macros next week, but it's just really there as a measuring tool. So don't get too wrapped up in that. The most important thing is really just your waist measurements and your photos. If you're looking good, feeling good, all a plus. A lot of time, if you're doing strength training, you do resistance training, you'll notice that you drop a little bit of weight at first, okay, so get rid of the water, and then the weight maintains, and the reason for that is you start to increase your muscle, but and burn fat at the same time, which is what intermittent fasting is really good at. So you'll notice on the scales that your weight stays the same. I'm rumbling on again. So don't get too wrapped up in the scales. That's what I'm trying to say. Yeah. So a couple of last points then for week. This is week 1. All right. So keep it simple. Yeah. Just don't eat crap this week. That's all I'm saying. So don't record stuff that you are eating. If you feel that way, you feel you want to. MyFitnessPal is really good for that. What's the other one? And just be a bit more active. Okay. So go out for walks when you can. If you drive to work every day, drive to work, but park a little bit further away from the actual office or your point of, where you actually work, so you've got a bit of a walk, even if it's a 300-400 meter walk to the office. When you go shopping, park further away from the door. Just these little things, day by day, adds up over week by week. Okay, and it's just extra calories that you're burning off. And then getting rid of some of that Christmas hamper that we may or may not have put on. Okay, so most important, week 1, let's keep it simple, and join the Facebook group, and let's keep each other motivated. All right, take it easy, have a good day.